Hello there, welcome to Movies Are Real for December 2018. We are talking to you from the future. It is I, Future Man, George Cruz. I am here with another Future Man, Man of the Future, Ryan Lance.
Vaping.
That is the future. In 2019, we are all vaping. That is the future. Carrie, future lady, what's up?
You can't see it, but I'm blowing a fat vape cloud right now.
This is
You know what's really interesting about movies set in the future? No one ever vapes. Everyone
That is
smokes.
Is that interesting?
Everyone smokes, but no one vapes.
It's very interesting because as we are in the future now, and we now can speak on the future, it is strange.
We're living in the Blade Runner 2019
To be fair, I think
future.
if you asked me in 2016, I would either say either nobody's going to be vaping in the future or we're all going to be vaping in the future. So,
And I think we know what timeline we're living in right now.
This is Movies Are Real, a monthly movie podcast where we gather to discuss the movies of the month prior when we're looking forward to the next month. This is the episode for the last month in 2018, December. Holy fucking shit, there's a lot of movies on this list, y'all. It was a lot. It's like sort of the end of the year. It's also sort of Oscar season, so we have a few stuff. I guess there's only I can see two, three movies that would fall on that, but the rest I certainly wouldn't say The Bird Box. Maybe Aquaman.
I think we all know Aquaman's gonna sweep George, but let's not get into that just yet.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I guess it's also we should probably mention since it's the end of the year. We are in the process of getting our best of 2018 episode content ready.
It's gonna be brutal.
I don't think it is actually this one. I think the top
George,
three.
we gotta sell the episode.
Man, let me tell you what. If any of you put Hereditary that's top three, we're never leaving this room. We're never leaving this room. All right, folks.
Anyways,
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That was a good fucking movie.
yeah.
I don't really know what else to say about it because I feel like since the first trailer, I was like, whoo, that movie looks fucking incredible.
But will it be incredible? We all thought. Was it all just the visual direction behind the studio that brought us the Emoji Movie?
They brought us
and
Surf's Up.
Hotel Transylvania.
They brought us Surf's Up 2 with
WrestleMania?
WrestleMania, yeah. Vince McMahon, Sea Otter. That was pretty good. Paige as a young Puffin Penguin. Paige, the young Puffin Penguin, has a movie coming out in 2019, or a movie about her.
I don't know what you were talking about.
That's that one movie directed by the Office guy. Anyways, whatever. We'll get to it. We will get to it.
Was that
this
the one
year.
you sent me that was just like...
Yeah, the one that we are all watching.
Wrestling, but my sister's better wrestling. But I love wrestling.
Okay, the one by Stephen Merchant. I was thinking John Krasinski. I was like, what?
Man. John Krasinski's the wrestler.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So this was the Phil Lord and what's the other guy's name?
Chris Miller.
Chris Miller. I always thought that's wrong, but yes. This is written by them. It is made by Sony Animation. As we mentioned, fine creators of animated films. This is a Spider-Man movie with multiple Spider-Man, but it is focused on Miles Morales. It looks absolutely stunning. I think what they do with the character of Miles is so warm and real and just so goddamn nice that they told, especially coming off of... So I'm just getting into it.
Yeah,
especially coming off of the Spider-Man video game and how that was a very normal Spider-Man story. A Spider-Man story where Spider-Man is assisting the cops to monitor the entire city of New York, and when a prison break happens, he just starts murdering prisoners. Who knows if they were innocent or not, but whatever, they're just dead. And Miles Morales' dad dies in that game too. And I just enjoyed how this Spider-Man was very different. And I thought the way, because he's from Brooklyn, and I thought the way they shown that he's from Brooklyn, that his father's black, his mother is Latina, was very, really nice. And I thought it looks fucking stunning as all hell. Especially
the style really takes you immediately.
Yes.
Like at the very start where it does the kind of interdimensional whamp.
Yeah, for the companies involved.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little too hard flexing personally.
It was a big flex at first, but then when it got going, you're like, oh, this is smooth looking. Oh my god.
Yeah, and
the fucking dotted lines over everything. Oh, so
and the Into the Spider-Verse fact, there's a different art style for every character, every other Spider-Man that comes in, because fucking Kingpin is doing some dumb nonsense that he's the Kingpin. Yeah. I really like this movie. Ryan, how did you feel about this movie?
As the Spider-Man guy.
Yeah, it's been a rough time to be a Spider-Man guy.
Well, like, a lot of people would disagree. A lot of people would say, like, Spider-Man Homecoming, a movie that I think is
Fine.
bad.
Okay, I will go with you if you want to go there. I will say that.
I would say it's a bad like Spider-Man story, like
All right,
on
here we go.
the terms of like what that character like is meant to be with like the history of comics and like
You didn't like his hot Aunt May?
The hot Aunt May is fine. It's just like in that movie.
I'll say.
Karen, you get it.
Shut it
My
down.
problem with that movie is Spider-Man's motivation to be Spider-Man is because he wants to be an Avenger. He doesn't seem like he cares about helping people because all he does is like, "Hey, Happy, it's me, Mr. Spider-Man. I'm here and I'm telling you I solved this convenience store and the crimes are gone now." Like that. Like he doesn't seem like he truly cares about helping people. He just like has this hero fantasy within himself to like go to space and like be a hero. And he does that.
Yeah.
And I feel like where he should go forward is like, actually this sucks.
Which is interesting because in some ways the video game did a better job because that Spider-Man, because both Spider-Man are like, they've been Spider-Man for a minute.
Yeah.
But in the game is like, oh no, this Spider-Man's all about the people and this shit. And that one, yeah, I guess you are right. It's very much like, I gotta be a cool Tony Stark man.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that bothers me. But like, with this one, like, you have Peter Parker. Like, he's done this for a while. But like, Miles is such a like, he idolizes Spider-Man in the way that like everyone in like the New York area would at that point. Where it's like, yeah, Spider-Man, he's awesome. Like but he doesn't like romanticize like who he is, which I feel like a lot of people interpret his character as like this Spider-Man's greatest #1 fan kind of thing.
Right.
And that's where they take the Miss Marvel stuff, and that works very well in the concepts of that. But like, she's a very different character than Miles is. He's just like this kid. He has his own like unique view of the world that's very much rooted in like his upbringing and like the world around him, which is very different to the 1960s world that the original Peter Parker was. He's just this perfect like version of like this new everyday teen and like what they go through as opposed to like because like even like Spider-Man like the 2002 one was a very like, this is not really what high school kids are like.
No,
this is like what we think high school kids are like. But Miles is like what a kid is like,
very
which is like
current,
what
too.
makes him like so like relatable. And like, I'm not like, I don't get like his world. I'm not all about my J's.
You don't know that was a Chance the Rapper poster?
I did not know. I don't know what a Post Malone is. Is it a cereal? It sounds fine. But like,
you don't know Sway Lee?
But like the way they treat like his world and like his interests, like it works in a way like
it's so fucking well done.
You really feel this this like alive character.
That scene where he goes down that fucking is so good.
It's great. So good. And like the overarching idea towards the end where like he's Spider-Man in his world, but like everyone can be a hero, which kind of like craps in the face of what I'm saying about Homecoming, which is like he's Spider-Man and because he wants to be an Avenger, but like he's Spider-Man, you can be Spider-Man. We're all Spider-Man in a way. Like we all have this like hero in us, this like desire to like help people.
Everyone can
wear the mask. It's so sweet and wonderful, and then it gets to like the Buck Wild stuff with Nicolas Cage and Spider-Mech and Spider-Ham and Spider-Gwen. Ugh. It's so good.
Yeah. I think
it's like the perfect like kind of origin story, I feel.
I do enjoy how we are at the point where we can treat like the base Spider-Man, like the story, like everyone knows fucking Spider-Man, so like the fact that we just have like this normal Spider-Man, like they don't really delve into them. It's like, you all know Spider-Man. He's pretty much like the Superman standard in this world because like this is the basic superhero. It is base Spider-Man. He doesn't have any fancy glowy shit. He doesn't have to like. He's just Spider-Man.
But we don't really see a lot of, especially in like the mainstream media, of like a Spider-Man who's done this for a long time.
Right.
Like we all like in the comics, like we see that, but like he's this CEO businessman who owns his own like Parker Industries. Yeah. Which is like, okay, that's kind of losing it a bit. But like, this is like, if Tobey Maguire stayed Spider-Man into his 40s and like, he's like, oh, this is the worst, but I had to do it because I'm Spider-Man. And like, it's interesting to see like what that lifestyle could do to a person.
I mean,
who's
literally,
done it for 20 years.
they allude that this is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Basically, yeah.
Because of the, unless they were just trying to do the bits just for the bits. Because
I think for the most part they're doing the bits for the
Probably
bits
for the bits.
because there are like, I mean, I feel like they would have just made it Tobey Maguire Spider-Man at that point. Like they can. I think people would have really thought that was cool if this was like a somewhat sequel to those movies, because those movies are beloved by a lot of people. I wouldn't say I'm one of those people. But
yeah. Carrie, how'd you feel about this movie? You're not usually big on superhero stories.
No, I enjoyed it because I think it made it interesting and fun in a way that a lot of superhero movies don't do for me. Because a lot of superhero movies are like, here's the superhero, isn't he cool? Look at him do the big punch, and I'm like, I don't really care. But I don't know, I thought it was just interesting, and as someone who isn't familiar with Spider-Man really at all, outside of what little of the movies I've seen, it didn't feel like overwhelming to have all these different Spider-Man stories going, and I knew what was happening, and it was cool and innovative, and it was just an overall excellent film.
Yeah, really just need that 5-second pitch they take for each fucking Spider-Man. Like, okay, this is noir Spider-Man, this is blah, blah, blah.
I really like.
There's like 2 noir Spider-Man though, because that one's like, because there's one that like just looks like a tech, like a stealthy Spider-Man, but he looks like he came from the early 2000s, but he doesn't have the cape.
There is a stealth suit for Spider-Man that is like that idea.
Okay.
I like one of my favorite like moments in this movie is like when he meets Peter Parker. He does like the gag of like, you're from like an alternate dimension where like things are weird. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Then like it's like, okay, we get what's going on in like a funny like way that like a kid would like go through, which is like, I don't know, because it is an overly complicated like concept that like I know a lot of other like movies and mediums have like tried to do before, where it's like, this is just nonsense, but this does it in a way that's like simple and like it gets to the point and it can just get to the fun stuff right away.
Yeah, I think just because we have so much to say in the spirit of like just moving on, for me the movie it reminded me like why people tell superhero stories, because like the movie itself feels like sort of like a passion project, not only just because it feels like I don't understand how you convinced Sony to fucking give you this budget to make this technology, to go hire all these fucking like contract artists like from like, you did this one cool thing, please come work with us, we're trying to do this fucking weird ass Spider-Man movie. And so like the character's arc feels like close to reality, like of these like underdog motherfuckers like doing this cool thing. And also like just like the Miles Morales character, like it's so much different than basic white bread Peter Parker. I really loved Into Spiders. I knew I was gonna love it, but I was just so impressed.
It's a movie where like
I'm impressed that these motherfuckers keep hitting out of the park in terms of like script writing.
Yeah.
Like 21 Jump Street was pretty good, but I didn't expect them to do this, I guess.
Yeah. Pretty good. It's a movie where like I knew I'd like it just because I'm a big Spider-Man guy. And it had a good direction, but like I was surprised like how much. I was like, this is amazing.
I like also it was cool that they added the video game suit on there. That was in the background.
They did, yeah. That was fun.
Anyways, hard pivot. Spider-Man's a good movie, but you know what else is a good movie? That I actually did not expect to like this movie. I just watched it because I knew because we were going to talk about it. But I would say it's pretty fucking good. Is The Favorite. Can you pronounce this director's name?
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
The man behind great films that everyone universally loves, like The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Those movies are both phenomenal. I don't know.
They're very divisive.
I think we're speaking. At least for George Cruz, I could speak only for myself if I were to say that. But yeah, I did not know he directed. Like it,
he didn't write it, which is the big difference.
Well, no, like even like he's definitely got a visual style.
Oh yeah,
and I couldn't get it from that, but that was just me. It felt because there's a lot of like shots from far away, a lot of like long shots. But anyways, getting to the point. The Favorite, Carrie, do you want to set this up?
Yeah, it's about this queen in an England area.
Yeah,
I don't
remember
where at exactly,
it's
but
like 17th century.
Yeah, the queen she's kind of an incompetent queen, sort of a figurehead type of thing, and she has this I don't know.
She's
what
a figurehead who's also gone through a lot of shit.
Yeah, she's had a lot of loss and a lot of grief, and she is in charge at the end of the day, but she has all of the people around her pretty much in her ear making the decisions for her. And one of those people is Rachel Weisz, who is the wife of like one of the army men.
Yes.
And they have a relationship, and then Rachel Weisz's cousin, I believe, distant cousin, shows up, and that's Emma Stone, and she wants employment. And the movie devolves from there into jealousy and combativeness between these two women trying to gain the favor of the queen.
And because Emma Stone's character, like, she used to be someone in terms of, like,
yes,
she used to live a good
she has
life.
fallen from grace.
She's fallen from grace, as she says. So she's trying to, like, claw her back up. Which, honestly, I could respect. Yeah. I respect what she was doing.
By any means necessary.
By any means necessary.
She just wants to get back to a comfortable place.
Yeah, so it's 1708. They're at war. Britain is at war with the French. Was there a specific reason why Rachel Weisz's character was so? Because she is for, like, let's just fuck the French up. I don't give a fuck. Was there a reason? Did they mention why?
I don't think so. I assume there's.
She just really likes her country. It was like she's
maybe.
Really proud
I
of
assume there's some sort of real life history thing that they're riffing on.
It is all like based in like reality.
I'm not smart enough to know.
I don't know history.
Right, because it's got Nicholas Hoult is also in the film, and he sort of he's also one of the top, like, sort of like folks who, like, as an advisor or some sort of like strategist who's like in like making decisions about this war. It seems like he's funding it also partly, or like he's representing folks.
He's like an uppity kind of like high funds, high ranking type of gentleman with, his makeup and his pedigree.
Yeah, and he wants to not like go all the way. He wants to like sort of find like some sort of middle ground and just end this because it's costing too much money, and I think he's gonna think it's gonna end really bad.
So it's just basically all the people in this court trying to sway the queen to fit their agenda.
Yep, definitely. But at the heart is Rachel Weisz's character and Emma Stone. So yeah, I don't know, Carrie, how did you feel about it? I didn't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting something more serious, and that's not necessarily what this is. Yeah.
I find all of Yorgos's films to be very funny. Like, all of them have a running dark wit through them, and this isn't my, unfortunately titled, but this isn't my favorite film of his, but I think it's his most accessible.
I would say
like
for sure.
Like, his other movies are, I love it, but he gets really bogged down in weird.
Yeah.
Isn't this weird? And it is, and it's great.
And I wish I was more into it, because
but I do get his. Because, like Ryan said, I don't think he didn't write this one, so I don't get his voice coming through as much, but I can still tell that it's a Yorgos movie just from the wackiness and the
scene where they're throwing
the absurdity.
You can tell in like certain like lines as well as like the framing of shots and stuff. They can be like, hey, it would be really weird if you said this. You should say it.
The scene where they're throwing all that food at that one guy was very much that guy's style. That was
that scene is so
guys, why have we not talked about the duck racing?
Oh, yes.
That is the greatest scene. We need to put that on the list of best scene of 2018.
The duck, that duck was pretty stylish and pretty good.
It's a
good duck. But yeah, I think... who plays the queen here? Olivia Colman?
Yep.
I think, for me, I think Rachel Weisz is definitely like the stand-up performance here, but I think they all complement each other very well, and I don't think
it's a very good ensemble.
Yeah, I don't think it works. Like, I think Emma Stone's good in it, but I don't think like it's a very good ensemble.
It's not her.
She's not the driving force.
Yeah, she's not the driving force. I think it's funny. I think it's paced well, at least for me, because I couldn't get into The Lobster. But that was just me. I haven't seen Killing of a Sacred Deer. Has he put out a movie once a year at this
Seems like it, yeah.
That's his main plan, I think.
I've made this joke before, but it's just he doesn't need sleep on his planet.
No, he does not.
But yeah, I just thought it was really sharp, really well performed. I think that certainly the ending is very much of this guy because I was like, I don't know what just happened. I don't know what just
Oh,
happened.
I love it. This movie falls into the genre of trashy period piece, and I love that.
I say, yeah.
Because it gives me similar vibes as Phantom Thread for me this year, where it's just this super serious, super staged, extremely well, masterfully done movie with great set pieces, amazing costumes, and wonderful shot composition, but then all the dialogue and all the things that they do are just out of a reality show or a soap opera, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it's we didn't mention that Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone are sleeping with Olivia Colman's character.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
So it's also a very horny movie.
yes.
Ryan, how'd you feel about The Favorite?
I liked it a lot. With Yorgos Lanthimos, I always like his movies at the start.
You'll play Lanthimos.
At all the boys in the yard, man. I always liked like the beginning of his movies, and like as it delves into like the weirder stuff, I'm like, all right, I am lost. It's the same thing I get every time.
That was the ending for me, but yeah.
It's the same thing that happens every time I try to rewatch Rocky Horror, where I was like, all right, I get it now, and then at the end I'm like, okay, I've lost now. And Karen,
That movie's pretty literal.
Yeah,
Like,
that
they're
movie's
literally
very
from a
easy,
planet.
no, what do you mean? That's the example. Like, like, I know that point's coming. Like, no, I'm lost now. I don't get why this is.
What are you trying to say here? You aliens? Excuse me?
But like, I don't know. Maybe because this was toned down was why I liked it a lot more. It was also weird in less of, because movies are always horny, but like this is horny in a different way. It's not trying to be like overly sexual. It's just, I feel like it's more like this is what's happening. You know what I mean? It doesn't like sit on stuff to be like, ain't this
Feel like this is his most humans are behaving as humans movie.
Yeah.
Like
Instead
they're
of-
still
instead
not.
of-
They're not.
That's
They're
a good
not
way to put it.
fully
That's a
humans,
good way to put
but
they're on the bad path to
there's nothing supernatural and weird
Yeah.
happening in
Yeah.
this movie like there are in his other films.
what's his name? Colin Firth is not in this film, which is who? Not Colin Firth. Who?
Colin Farrell?
Farrell. Yeah. Because he was in
You're
Lobster.
thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he was doing Widows at the
Yeah.
time when they were doing this.
Oh, that's a
Was he
shame.
supposed to be in it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I just
It's
read an
weird of
article.
him not being in one of his movies,
Yeah.
though. I feel like he would have
He
had
does.
pride weird.
Yorgos does have that troupe. He brought back because Olivia Colman was in The Lobster. She was the facilitator at she was the lady at the facility that they were at.
Oh.
And
The Lanthimos players.
Rachel Weisz was in that movie as well.
So yeah, that's The Favorite. It's very good. It'll definitely be discussed during our end of the year conversations. The next movie on this list is Roma, which is a Netflix joint but also a theatrical release joint. Directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who a lot of people say like fucking what was that movie? Not Y tu mamá también, the other
Children
one.
of Men.
Children of Men, which people are crazy about the movie.
Oh,
I don't.
he did that.
Yeah. I
Yeah, that
so,
movie's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, I don't,
Cool.
I don't get it, but
I haven't seen any of his other films.
I feel like in the short span that Children of Men has been out, a lot of other movies have like riffed on it, and it feels like when you're watching, like, oh, this is the movie that like invented this and set the precedent for this. I was like,
That's probably why I don't like it that
it's
much.
like, oh, I get what they're doing, but
Well, I've
also it's like been done to death now. So I legit have no idea what Roma's about other than it's completely in Spanish. Because I started watching, it's like, oh, I don't need these subtitles done. Show me the loser.
It's about the life of like this maid for this family in Mexico in like the 70s or 80s.
It's in the 70s, I believe, and they're
Okay.
in Mexico City, and it's a partially autobiographical from Alfonso Cuarón's childhood, I believe, is what he said about it, and like he just puts in some. Because the main character is this live-in maid named Cleo, and a lot of the events in the film are inspired by like, a real person that he knew. And it's just her kind of day-to-day life with this upper middle-class family and what she gets up to on her free time, and then some things happen. And there's like political unrest in the film, and I don't know what about, but again, ignorant of history, but there's just them, it's her with this family as the family goes through trials and tribulations, and she also goes through trials and tribulations, and it's them growing closer to each other, and the family realizing how vital Cleo is to them, and her realizing how vital they are to her, sort of thing.
1970, 71, and so I'm trying to figure out what would have happened. That is, yeah. So that sounds very interesting. I think for me, the reason I haven't seen this movie yet and I want to see it is just because I feel like I could understand the struggle of this character. Like I could relate to it on a level of like, I know people like, and I'm just like, I don't. It
real.
just bums me the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I was just like, But it looks really good. It looks really good.
And it's also just beautiful. Like every shot in this movie is amazing, and there's a lot of long takes, and the opening scene, like the opening credits, is a shot of a floor, and then like sudsy water comes in because she's mopping their like carport. They have this garage thing that's outside their house, and she's mopping the floor, but the sudsy water comes in, and then as it becomes clear, it reveals the reflection of this like skylight thing, and then an airplane flies through it. It's like, it's just so beautiful. It's like, it's so good.
Ryan, have you seen this?
I have not. No, it's one of those things that like feels too sad and real, where it's like, I don't know. It almost feels like one of the like Oscar baity kind of things. Like I know like from everything. Like
I think when you mean by Oscar bait, you mean like it seems like the type of movie to be. You're not being dismissive of it. You're being like it feels like the type that crew of people would choose.
Yes.
To now make one Oscar.
Yes. And though movies like that, just like I don't know, the vibe of them just kind of like even though like everything I've heard and like seen of this movie, like from like trailers or like other people's like reviews have been like, no, this is like genuine and like great. I'm like, okay, cool. Then it's just really sad and like poetic. I don't know. I have to be in the mood for something like that. Because like I like movies like that, but I don't know. For me, it's like if I can jump in onto any time, it has to like have like a weird edge to it, if that makes sense. If it's something like strict and like real and like just.
This is very real. There's nothing. There's nothing wacky or weird in this.
I gotta like be in like.
How long is it, by the way?
Mood.
I don't know.
It seems like it'd be like a long movie.
Around 2 hours, maybe more. I don't remember. It didn't feel long when I was watching it.
Okay. Well, I guess we don't have much to say, but I will probably wind up watching it for the sake of our discussions. The Party's Just Beginning is the next movie on this list. Karen Gillan made her own movie. I know she made some short stuff, but is this her first feature-length
This is her first directed, written, and acted film.
Okay.
She wrote her first movie and directed it, and then it came out this year.
Ryan, give me the pitch for this.
So, The Party's Just Beginning. A woman, Karen Gillan, I can't remember, what was her name?
Oh God!
It
was a normal name that was spelled extremely weird. It was like Lindsay, but with like 6 G's.
It had like 6 G's. So I'll just say Karen Gillan because it definitely feels like it comes from like a real place from her. She's this woman living in Scotland. This kind of like party girl who's like mourning like the loss of like her like close friend. Who
I'm looking at the name and I don't know. It was like Lisa or something, but like
Carrie, it's fine.
Holy shit! Whoa!
Yep. So she's this girl who's been mourning the loss of her best friend who committed suicide quite some time ago, and she's dealing with in this way of like she just goes out and parties, gets hammered. Has sex with a random guy like in the street, which is very specific. She doesn't like ever like hook up with guys at these parties. She's walking home. They hook up in like she runs into a guy. They hook up in an alleyway. She goes and gets some fries. She walks past the bridge where she saw her best friend kill himself. And she goes home.
I'm reading the description of this movie, and this sounds dark.
It is very dark, but it's a very like real kind of thing. Like you really like feel like this like loss of like identity when like you lose someone who's close to you. You feel this like 20-something feeling of like I don't know what to do with my life right now. She works at this. She works at the cheese counter.
Cheese counter at a grocery store.
And she keeps like arguing with people like, "Do you have this specific kind of cheese?" Like, "No, we don't have it. What's wrong with you?" I can't remember what kind of thing like. it really balances like the darkness of like what's going on inside of her with like this weird, absurd, like random outbursts of comedy of just like her arguing like with like her parents, and it's like it's just it's so like good. And like I went into this thing like, because Karen Gillan, like I'm just gonna say it, like I love
Here
her.
we go.
I love her a lot. She's best known as Nebula in Avengers, but she's
the lady from Doctor Who.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
Or
think she's
Doctor
best
Who.
known as Doctor Who. lady.
I've never seen one episode of Doctor Who gives a crap. I don't care.
Got him.
I fucking got her. She's great in the Mirror movie, Oculus.
Yeah.
She's really stellar in that. I don't know.
What about Jumanji, Ryan?
She is great in Jumanji for very
Shout out to her and getting those big paychecks for those
she
movies.
is getting these big paychecks, yeah. And it's cool just like her like making this like passion thing for herself that like I don't know. It's a movie where like you really feel like her direction and like I don't know, it's hard to describe like
It's
the
got
way
Lee Pace in it.
it does.
That's the reason I watched
yeah,
it.
I reviewed it on Letterboxd and then Carrie like Lee Pace and then immediately watched it.
It was only $1.
It was. That's why I watched it. But it's really stellar. My one like gripe with it is like it kind of like feeds into like some LGBT stereotypes from like the perspective of a straight cis white woman that like I don't know because the stuff that because like those are like feelings that like her best friend has. He's this LGBT person.
He's in the closet.
In the closet. Later,
it's his like boyfriend.
His boyfriend's in the closet, and then like it turns into like he's thinking he might be transgender as
he's
well.
questioning his identity, and she is supportive, but it's also a little iffy. I remember feeling iffy about it. I don't remember exactly.
It could
why,
either
but...
go in like a friendly like I get this, but like. Because, like, their friendship is, like, shitting on each other, right?
Yeah.
Much like a friendship between, like, me and Miss Carrie Lyles. So,
well,
like...
I mean, because he sort of... he reveals to her that he is questioning if he is transgender or not, and she immediately thinks that he is only... transitioning because he wants to become a woman for his boyfriend who doesn't want to come out as gay. And I was like, that is iffy. I'm not sure I like that. But that might have just been her character not understanding.
And also, like, the character can be shitty.
Yeah.
You can write a shitty character.
It's just like the...
But it's just weird when you wrote and directed and you're starring.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's fine. It's like, there's just so much of that already. It's just weird that, like... there's just more of it, you know, like that's very played out and people are like universal, like we don't want any more of this closet suicide sad gay person stuff. And it's like, well, what if I made another one?
And I mean, it feels like a lot of her friend's struggles and what he's going through, because he struggles with drug addiction and his sexuality and his father having it feels like a lot of that is sidelined or used as shock value and then looked at through her perspective, and like she is dealing with the repercussions and her depression from that event. But I don't know,
it does make sense in a way, like, because she's remembering this stuff, so it feels like maybe it's written in a way like, oh, she's remembering like all this obvious stuff like I could have like intervened with, because like they've been friends since like they were kids, right?
So she's just dwelling on
on like the negative stuff that like, because her character's this person who like cares more about having fun than like getting real, even though like, you know, when you're around that age, like, that's the point where, like, you should start getting real, at least with certain things, especially with a friend who is in this very, like, conflicted predicament. And, like, of course, like, it's good to, like, if you're dealing with, like, any person who's, like, struggling to, like, not change too much where it's like, oh, you're just, like, taking sympathy on me. Or, like, you're trying too hard and, like, you don't feel genuine right now. like you want to like maintain like, hey, I'm still me, but like I get it, or at least in a way. I don't know. I feel like that's the intention of it, but it doesn't always come off that way. And I don't know. It's very good. The direction and like the shots are like really stellar for like someone who's doing this for their very first time.
Well,
And
for a feature-length film.
for a
but she's
feature-length
in
film
she's been
too,
in-
yeah. But still, like I don't know. My main thing is like this is a good like stone to like the next big thing. Like I'll be like looking forward to
Okay.
it. Because like it's a very like cool thing. Has some iffy things. I think wanting to tackle those subjects isn't inherently wrong or like you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't know.
But it almost feels like at times she just took a bunch of sensitive topics and just
That's
threw
what
them
I
in
was
the
going to
movie
say that, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to be
like,
so dismissive.
but I it just feels
def-
like that
it
because
definitely
they,
does feel that
they
way.
don't. A lot of them are just thrown in as like character traits.
Like, I'm sure she's
and-
thought through it, but from what you guys tell me,
Yeah.
it sounds like this is my first feature-length film. I got some shit to
I want to
say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the party's just beginning. We have so much stuff here that I'm gonna run down what we've talked about so far. We started with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That was a movie when we talked about Spider-Man. The favorite, Roma, and the party's just beginning.
Next up is Border.
Or there's another name for this movie, right?
Goo
Goo Goo Gaga.
Gons or something.
Yeah.
It's a Swedish film.
Swedish word.
From
Same
the
ri- same ri-
director. Oh, I thought there was someone that
The writer is the person who wrote the novel of Let the Right One In.
Yeah, that's what
One
I
of
thought.
my favorite films ever made. So I don't know why I didn't
Grans.
see this.
Gran. So yeah, this one's gonna be this one. I feel like this is the most like deep indie we've gotten. I feel in this show because it's hard to fucking find this movie. So pitch it to us, Carrie.
I won.
I won.
I'm the film.
Give me my underground metal. So it's about this woman who works at like it's like a customs station for this boatyard, I guess. So it's all these people coming into this country via boat, and she's the equivalent of a TSA agent, but whatever the word for that, who works at a boat place would be. And she has this ability to smell and sense human emotions. So she can like smell if someone is like uneasy or nervous, and that makes her super good at her job. So she can intercept people and be like, you've got alcohol in there, or you have child porn on your phone. And so she is super good at that. And then one day, and she has a somewhat different looking face. She's got like a kind of blockier face, and she looks a little different than everyone else. And then one day, another person who looks like her comes through the TSA line, and she can't sense them correctly. Like, she pulls them in, pulls them aside, and usually her assistant will do the search down and they'll find something, but this person didn't have anything. And so then they have a connection, and she brings him back and has him rent this house that's outside of her house, and they just grow closer. And then you find out some very strange things. This movie gets very weird because there's this other crime ring drama that's happening, and then there's kidnapping, and there's fantasy elements. It's amazing.
Yeah, we have a lot of movies on this list that folks may not be familiar with, so I think we'll hyperlink a trailer to this one for the show notes, because it is, like you said, it's sort of a it's like hard to like seeing the trailer. I can visualize it, but it may be hard for like folks. Yeah,
it's a wholly unique movie, and I have nothing to compare it to.
It looks
That's
it
awesome.
looks like a lot.
Yeah, it's warm and genuine at parts, but it's also extremely strange and grotesque at other parts, and that's just kind of my jam. So I was bound to like this because it's just weird as fuck, and it's about weirdos in the woods, and they're just doing their weirdo stuff.
The trailer really did remind me a lot of Let the Right One In. You can really tell it's the same writer. You still haven't seen. Neither of you have seen the original, which a movie I would highly recommend. Very good. And even if you're not a fan of the remake, which like I get why some people don't like that one. It's weird in some other ways, but so.
How old is that movie now, by the way?
Let the Right One In came out in 2008, and the sequel and the remake came out in 2010.
That movie's a decade.
A decade old.
Time is a
yeah.
thing.
Very good movie. Amazon Prime. Watch it now.
Can't believe it's been this long since we talked about. Listen to Ryan talk about Let the Right One In.
Oh man. When I discovered that movie, my life turned around.
So yeah, we'll try to remember to put hyperlink trailers for some of these movies because I think especially for Border here, it is hard to picture like what's going on without watching the trailer.
Even when you see the trailer, like this is just a window into this madness.
It's so cool. I really dug it a lot. And there's parts of it where it feels kind of slow and weird, but then there's just high octane scenes of strange and tense and beautiful, and I really dug it.
Yeah, so that's Border, and again, that one I think I wasn't able to track it down in a way to watch it. That's not because we saw it you saw it in an Alamo screening.
Yeah, the theater that I always go to played it for one day.
Yeah, which is how I even know it, just because it was a trailer that played before it.
Yeah,
and we saw something else. I can't remember what. But yeah, a movie that is not so low key. Mary Poppins Returns. She's back, everybody. You thought the global warming was gonna stop her, but she's here. So yeah, Rob Marshall, Emily Blunt, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Not Julie Andrews.
Not
what the
spoilers. So this is not a remake. This is a direct sequel.
Yeah, pretty much.
To the original Mary Poppins. So I forget the children's names.
Jane and Michael.
Jane and Michael are grown up. Jane
and Michael Banks.
It's sort of like Christopher Robin.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. It's that same angle where
it's
they're
one of those
old
movies
and they
both
don't
came out this year.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was like,
Michael Banks is now old and he's just like his dad.
He doesn't get it anymore, man. He's lost.
That's the exact same plot as Christopher Robin.
Yeah,
Except this time his wife is dead. No.
For some reason.
Yeah, we don't know. She died of Disney parent syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tragic, and he's an artist.
Not anymore, though, because he has to get a banking job to pay for his house.
Is this a modern day thing?
Where has the wonder and whimsy of childhood gone?
It's like 30 years after the original one, so I think it takes place in the 1930s. It said, at the beginning of the movie, it said during the time of the Great Slump, and I think that means the Great Depression? But I don't know.
I mean, that's different.
The Great
It's not
Slump
American
could describe
history.
a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're still lighting fucking lamps with the fucking.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Carrie, you're a big Mary Poppins fan. I don't know.
I like Mary Poppins conceptually, but I haven't seen it since I was a little kid, and so like the pitch.
About it.
I haven't seen it for a long time.
But like the pitch of like, yes, I would get Emily Blunt to play Mary Poppins in the year of our Lord 2018.
Yeah.
That's who I'd get. And it's fine. It's good. It's not bad.
No.
But it's also, especially coming off of Christopher Robin and just that pitch.
Yeah.
There's not a soft bear in this movie.
There is no bear.
And Emily Blunt is really cool.
But she's not a bear.
She's not a. Yeah.
You can objectively say that.
And that's the other thing, like, like, listen, it's a kid's movie, like, but also, it just seems, it's just so black and white, like, it's got Colin Firth, like, I'm shutting down the puppy mill, and you can't do anything about it. Even if you found this one piece of paper in a very dramatic and over-the-top scene.
Say what?
Never
have
it? What? And then, and it's definitely trying to be like, because there's literally like, I am the great-grandfather of Colin Firth, and I've come here. Colin Firth, you've been a very bad boy. Mary Poppins, oh, it's been so long. And it's a whole thing. I just gave up the whole movie. It's very formulaic, but even within the formula, I think it doesn't like have huge moments of like whimsy, like whoa, like there's an animation. No. The part where they do the animation, it looks really great. It looks fantastic.
It was awesome to be sitting in a theater in 2019 watching 2D animation on a big screen. I was like, this is great.
And
Thank you.
The line art is really good. There's a lot of it looks fan-fucking-tastic. But it just doesn't, I don't think it exceeds the level of the bare minimum of they needed to hit to make this movie work at all.
There's no bear.
There's no bear.
I mean, there may have been in that one
How could it
circus
hit
scene.
that bare minimum if there's no bears?
And I think Emily Blunt does a great job. I think she doesn't have the
She doesn't
warmth
have
of a
that-
Julie Andrews.
No, yeah, she played the character very differently because Julie Andrews, she didn't want to play it exactly like Julie Andrews because
Sure.
no one can. But she went, from what I've heard, she went more from the novel, like the book version of Mary Poppins, who's a little harsher than Julie Andrews' Mary Poppins was, and I think that's just in the delivery, but because Julie Andrews has this kind of voice.
It's hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. But yeah, and I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's great, but man, it's just, I understand you're making a musical and you're Disney, you gotta hire Lin-Manuel Miranda. Everyone likes Lin-Manuel Miranda. I like Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's out there doing it for our people, but it's just his the accent he's trying to put on is not much better than Dick Van Dyke, but it doesn't work. He does a lot of singing. He does the first song in that movie, and it's like, ooh, yo, okay, I guess we're watching this. I mean, you're doing a good job, Lin-Manuel. You're trying, but man.
But George, in this film, we get to see Mary Poppins rap.
That is very true.
What?
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as it sounds, but
She doesn't turn her hat the other way around.
Oh,
and it becomes-
hell yeah.
she wasn't like turning her head like, I'm not giving up my shot, folks.
There's a more spoken word kind of song
Yeah,
where they're on stage and telling a story. And,
Yeah.
She goes,
all I
this is a story about
yeah, exactly. No, all I could think of was when we were talking about Beauty and the Beast and you asked if the Beast rapped, and I said that would be awesome. And then in this movie they started rapping, and I was like, well,
They did it.
here we are.
So yeah, I think we're not being very critical. That's partially because we got so much to talk about, but it's fine. Like
Yeah.
it's fine.
It made me happy, and I feel like I was so invested in this movie that I wasn't gonna allow myself to not like it. So it didn't deliver as much of the magic that I got from watching the trailer every day for a week when it first came out, but it's still a decent movie.
I think it would have been a lot better if it didn't come out after Christopher Robin.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it would have done a lot. Because it
It
really
felt
is the
same.
exact
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
But it's not Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, and it's not as good.
Yeah. Like, it's easier to, like, it's easier for me to give myself to Winnie the Pooh.
Uh-huh.
Like, yes, sure, I'll feel all the warm and fuzzies. And, like, again, Mary Poppins is good, but, like, it's just too close.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. I don't know how it's doing in terms of money-wise.
Oh, it's probably doing all right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It came out in the same week as a lot of stuff.
Spider-Man,
Yeah,
Bumblebee,
and Aquaman.
Aquaman. Oh,
which
man.
is one of the highest
That's
grossing films of the year already.
Damn.
Probably one of the best as well, I think. Best
I mean,
performance.
We're not there yet, George.
Yeah, so we're gonna get there.
We got a few more movies.
Anyways,
to get
in the spirit of moving on, that was Mary Poppins Returns. It's okay.
Hard left here. Carrie, Lars von Trier is
Lars
back.
von Trier presents Mary Poppins Return.
Oh no! The house that Jack built. I remember, Carrie, when you texted me you're going to see this, I said, "Let me know if he's the guy who put those clocks in those walls."
I thought that was really funny.
Did he put those clocks in those walls, Carrie? No, does this suck?
It's bad.
But it's Lars von Trier.
It's Lars von Trier, but I'm slowly, agonizingly, every time I sit through one of these fucking movies, realizing that I don't think I like Lars von Trier.
All right, so I need you to delete your Letterboxd account right now.
I am so sorry, film bros who have been flooding my Twitter telling me that this movie about Lars von Trier fucking analyzing himself as a serial killer is just fabulous and wonderful. So basically, this movie is about Jack, who is a serial killer.
Whoa.
And he is retelling the incidents of his career as a serial killer to this unseen character via voiceover. And there's 5 incidents, so it's sort of like an anthology movie, but it's just 5 different murders that were important in this serial killer's career of serial killing. And I watched this movie because I heard that there was some fun gore in it, but the only version that was available to rent was not the director's cut, which I hear is what has all the intense gore, so I didn't even get the fun gore.
Also,
I'm
it stars
surprised
Matt Dillon.
Yes.
And it's narrated by Matt Dillon, which is a weird... I just wasn't expecting to see Matt Dillon's face in the year of our Lord 2018.
What else has he been in?
I can't think of, that's why.
that-
Herbie, fully loaded.
I'm surprised that a cut of this movie would be released that's not the director's cut, considering it's large.
This is
Considering
the whole
Lars
thing,
von
it's the whole
Trier,
bit.
yeah.
It's the whole
Yeah.
bit.
I don't
Actually,
know.
well,
I
think
really
they-
don't know why.
I think they did the same thing for Nymphomaniac, actually.
Yeah, that it was.
Well, that's a movie I get because that's just a movie about having sex.
The director's cut was playing here one day, and I almost went, but then I was like, I just don't want to.
I don't want to be around
And
those
then,
people.
yeah, and then the theatrical cut was playing for a little while, and it was out on digital at the same time. So
It's
I
like
just
a bunch of
rented it at
people
home.
say, it's like a bunch of people saying like, that's Chappie, but like, that's Lars von Trier right there. That's it. That's right there.
That's my version of hell right there.
But
That's Chappie.
funny you should say that but it's just this movie is just Lars von Trier jerking himself off for 2.5 hours, and it's so egregious that I can't tell if it's a joke or not. Like, it's so ridiculous, the things that he says in this movie, because you know he's talking about himself the entire movie, but then there's the in between each scene of murder when he and this other character are talking, they're talking about the philosophies of murder and morality, and he's also talking about architecture because he wants to build his house, and he talks about how cathedrals are covered in art, but then there's recesses in the ceiling that are dark, and that's the art that only God can see, and then he compares that to his murders, and it's like, this is so stupid. But it's just so pretentious and dumb that it has to be a joke. Like, it has to be. I want to believe that it's a joke because it's just ridiculous. And there's a part where they're talking about the presence of violence and extremity and violence in media and how that affects the world at large. And while they're talking about that, there's a montage of clips from other Lars von Trier films in this film while he's talking about violence and its effect on... And I'm just like, excuse me. It's just ridiculous. I can't imagine how someone can watch this film and be like, oh yeah, that was amazing. That changed. I'm so sorry, but I can't empathize with that at all. It's ridiculous.
Well, Carrie, I'm
Would
glad
you
we were
say
able
that-
to...
Would you say that this is the mother of 2018?
Oh, most mother of the year.
The
I think
award,
that-
guys, let's give the award early.
I
this
think
year.
that Lars von Trier and Darren Aronofsky occupy a very similar space in my brain where it's just like, you're a tool. I don't like you.
You're a tool, and people tell me I should like you.
Yeah. But, like, to give this movie credit, some of the sequences were, like, there was some unintentional... I can't tell if it's intentional or unintentional at this point, but some of the gore and some of the murders were very funny, and I got some comedic value out of that, and I enjoyed that. There's a lot of dark humor running throughout the movie, and most of it is good, but most of it is just so pretentious, and it's so pretentious that I want to believe that he's just trolling his entire audience because it's so ridiculous. Like, there's a part where he's talking about dessert wines and how there's 3 different processes of making dessert wine, where the grape has to be, like, frozen in the cold, or it stays on the vine too long and it starts growing mold, and that makes its sugar content double, and it becomes sweeter and better for dessert wine. And then that's the same thing that happens to the human body after he murders it. It becomes higher and
It
elevated.
sounds like if
because of
Werner
him.
Herzog sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not recommend this film unless you enjoy being irritated
Or being irritating as a person.
And if you, I guess if folks out there, it should just be noted that if you're not familiar with Lars von Trier, but you might want to do a little bit lookup of his works, and I think
and he's done stuff like that before.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He reuses scenes that he's done. Like, he reused the opening of Antichrist and restaged it in Nymphomaniac, I believe. I haven't seen Nymphomaniac, but I heard that happens. And he reuses some of his imagery. So that's kind of his bit, I guess. But I have no interest in watching that.
My favorite part in Nymphomaniac was when she was gonna get double penetrated by two guys. And she calls the guys up, and they go up to her hotel room, and then they realize I don't think they realized that they were gonna have sex with her at the same time. And they're like, "No, fuck that! I'm gonna feel your dick inside her. I don't want to do that. That's fucking gay. I'm not doing that." And they just have this argument, and she just walks out of the room. That's the best part of that movie.
That's pretty good.
Anyways, so yeah, I guess if you guys want to go down that fucking rabbit hole, find out who that gentleman is. LVT, everyone, film's biggest visionary next to Darren Aronofsky.
If you like Lars von Trier, I'm sure you'll love this hunk of shit as much as the rest of his hunks of shit.
Speaking of hunks of shit,
George, how dare you?
The movie that everyone will not shut up
this is
about.
a psyop by Netflix. That's what I will say.
It probably
It's
is.
a complete psyop. All right, that's what I gotta say right now. So the
Bandersnat. God damn.
Bird Box. Do not confuse this movie with The Road. Do not confuse this movie with
Quiet Place.
The Quiet Place. It is Bird Box.
Do confuse it with any other film and watch that other film.
Okay, so again, this is not worth our energy, but Bird Box, if you don't know for some gosh darn reason, and I'm so sorry, folks, that we're already these motherfucking pretentious motherfuckers already dunking on Bird Box. Post-apocalyptic movie. Stars Sandra Bullock. Also has Sarah Paulson in a small role, but Sarah Paulson's always worth mentioning in my book.
It
Anyways,
should be in every book.
yeah.
And John Malkovich.
Yeah, he is in
which
this
I learned
movie. He
from
plays
looking at
like
the
a
cast list.
super like conservative prepper, probably racist type character
Yeah.
that you would always have in like we have a group of people we have to survive, and he's all like
the one
those
guy
people
who's-
are black. You shouldn't trust them because they're gonna blah, 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 blah. He's very much that
I
character.
see.
I don't like my gay neighbors
Yes,
because
exactly.
they have their architecture and it's made of glass.
But we have a gay person here, and we're stuck here together in the post-apocalypse.
Oh,
man.
no.
But in this apocalypse, if you look at the demons, you kill yourself.
Oh.
This is we're another award category. Most happening movie of the year
Yes,
goes
it-
to the Bird
This
Box.
is a very
Oh,
Congratulations.
so you mean like most hip and most cool? No,
No, most
like
the
happening.
most the happening movie. We're just walking around just dunking on this movie.
Yeah.
So, post-apocalyptic movie that takes it is told like during when the event happened, and
Like 5 years later, and also like it's cutting between like her trip down this river with these two kids, and it's cutting between them doing that blindfolded as well as like how this started and her experiences like from the very beginning and then
at the end
onwards.
the timelines sync up and
Yep.
you're told what the story is. It really isn't in terms of story. If you've seen the post-apocalyptic film, like
If you've
it doesn't do anything
seen
new.
most other films,
Right, like Sandra
Yeah.
Bullock, like the thing happens. They're in the group. John Malkovich is there. Machine Gun Kelly is there.
Alita
He's sort
Battle Angels there.
Alita Battle Angel is there. We can't let her in, but she's pregnant. Oh, we gotta let her in.
Oh, the guy who was writing the book, he's also been in other things.
Has he?
What is he? Was he the friend?
Get
Out!
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes! He played the exact same
So there's a
character.
character, again in the stereotypical group. There's the guy who's like, no, I know about this, man. I'm writing, I've done the research about it, man. This is what's happening right now.
It's on the internet.
It's on the internet, guys. And then he dies first because he's
Yep.
he's funny and he's black, so
Yeah, of course.
we gotta kill him
Two
off.
strikes.
Yeah. Again, we're just walking in like it's just so cliche that it doesn't
It's so cliche, and like, I don't get why people find this so scary.
psyop. It's because Netflix was like, we're gonna make the
No,
memes. and-
what happens that's scary? The demons don't do anything. You have to see them. Like, Carrie, you're blindfolded and like they're around
Like the
you.
concept that we may have a
they're-
reckoning is scary. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's only the scary thing about
They
it.
blow wind at you, basically, and like sometimes they'll be like,
It's me, I'm your dad. Take off your
off the
blindfold.
blindfold.
You do you want.
it's like, I don't know about that.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
man.
pussy! Take your blindfold.
Pussy, yeah.
You won't do it. But
Oh, God.
By the
Machine
way-
Gun Kelly, guy, piece of
By
shit.
the way, the demons
It's
would
me,
have been so
Eminem.
much more effective if they were like,
Yo, it's me, Sarah Paulson. You know, famous actor. You should take off your blindfold.
You
can
see
me.
OJ making a murderer is pretty good.
It's me, Matt Mickelson's Carrie. Take off your blindfold, watch me lick my lips.
And then you die. And then you kill
But
yourself.
like the other, like
so that's the happening
the
thing.
other
Yeah,
main.
they'd kill
So
themselves.
basically, you see the demons, and then like you have this urge to kill yourself. But there's also this other threat, which are people who are mentally ill. If they see the demons, they become cultists whose main objective is to make other people look at the demons.
Fuck.
So basically,
How mentally ill does one have to be to become
I
a demon?
don't-
I think I would fall under because I have the generalized anxiety, so I think I would fall under that, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
This
about
demon would not do well in this day and age.
No,
It would
no,
just have
no.
a lot of. Well, I mean, it wouldn't have a high body count.
So-
It would have a lot of cult.
So let's get focused though. So we set up that up, but also it's the fact of the Sandra Bullock character. So Sandra Bullock is pregnant. She does not want to be a mom. So like before the shit happens, they're talking about like you gotta deal with this. Like she's going through like
First off, during that scene, she's getting an ultrasound. She's with her sister
Let's get
Sarah
to that.
Paulson
Yeah.
and the doctor, and it doesn't. The doctor then like they're like riffing about it, but it feels like they're just joking because like that feels like the relationship between the characters. Like, oh, what am I gonna do? I thought if I would just ignore the baby, it'd go away. Like it seemed like they were just joking.
Sure, but then that becomes
But then
the character.
but then the doctor's like, you're being serious. If you want an abortion or a fucking adoption, like you should do that. And it's like, okay.
I tell them it's like the person like when you tweet, I'm gonna kill myself, lol.
And everyone's like,
"Are you serious? You use the phone
Yeah.
number." Yeah.
It feels like that.
We shouldn't joke about that.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know. It really set a weird.
But to the point is the character of Sandra Bullock is I don't want to be a mom. That's the her character. Guess what? You're gonna be a mom in the post-apocalypse now.
Yeah.
It's so much so they commit to the bit so much so that she even after like 5 years in, she calls them boy and girl.
Yep.
They do not have a name. Boy and girl.
Yep.
And she just yells at them all the time until they learn the moral and they work together to survive.
She's like, why are you so stupid in the apocalypse? What are you, 5? Yes. God.
What the hell?
It's really weird.
It's just and it's poorly acted. Like I feel like Sandra Bullock produced this, and she's a way better actress than this. Like
This is the same writer as Arrival.
Of
the film. As well as a lot of other bad films.
it's got Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross as
Also, the
fucking
writer of
composers.
this film is writing the Your Name American remake, which is gonna be very interesting.
It just feels like everyone's claiming a check. It really just feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also not. Like, because if man. Anyways, we're just spoil the ending to this. So you may be asking yourself, listener, if you haven't seen the Bird Box,
I'm
the hottest
asking.
movie of the year.
I'm on the edge of my seat over here.
Which apparently everyone has seen this film. for some
George,
reason.
I haven't seen it.
George, if the way you die is if you see, what if you're blind? Well, what is that? Well, I'm glad you asked. So the reason within 5 years they get a distress call from like, hey, we're safe here, come over there, but you have to go down the river. It takes one of you's gonna have to take the blindfold off to look because of the waterfall. And that's the big thing, and like they have to get through this together as a family.
Quick pause. This writer has written the Nightmare on Elm Street remake,
That was okay.
Final Destination 5, the Thing remake, Lights Out, which makes sense for the weird way you treat mentally ill people,
And yeah.
and Arrival.
Wow.
So a
hell?
lot of a big difference in there. Anyways, George, go on.
So yes, so they do the thing where they go down, and so we're finding out why is this place safe? Why is this the one place? So they go over there. They have this whole bonding moment. She finally realizes that they're my children. Oh, actually, one of them isn't her biological child, but that's a whole other thing. Like it's the
Yeah.
pregnant lady. She dies, and then it's like, please take care of my child. It's like okay. Anyways,
Now I gotta be a mother to someone
Yeah,
else's
exactly.
kid. God damn it, I don't want this.
so the sanctuary they get there is a sanctuary for the blind.
School. She goes there and like, oh, what's going on? And then the guy like points to the thing. It's like, Saint, Bernard, School of the Blood. It's like, oh my god.
And so they're safe there. She gets there. Everyone's playing like hoop stick. And it's like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And then her fucking doctor that gave her the ultrasound is there. And she's like, you the kids. And it's like, oh.
Kids, you want to go play with other kids? Yeah, we're filthy and covered in dirt, but yeah, let's play with other children.
And then they're
right
like, what's your names? And they're about to say boy and girl. She's like, no, her name is blah, 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 named after the band. And then it's like, ah.
Yeah, she just named him after the girl's mom who's dead and the boy after her husband who's dead. So not really like names.
No.
Like she
Just
thought of
the
just
quick things she thought of.
yeah. Like your mom's name was Blibberday, so you're
You're blah, blah, blah.
And I really like this guy named Blibberday, so you're Blibberday.
Yeah, the really hot guy.
Yeah.
He was very attractive.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, we don't have any criticism to say about the Bird Box. This was our own rant.
Do they have to blind themselves to stay there, or
No,
oh,
because
the presence doesn't. That's a good question.
they don't go inside houses. You have to be outside.
Yes, that's true. That's
They're
true.
not, for some reason not able to go.
the demons can't go inside?
No,
They
What?
can't. They're like vampires.
What? They're
they
vampires.
never get into that
Because
Oh.
like when they're in the safe house, they have every.
If you see them through a door or through a video camera, that will still make you die.
Oh,
But they don't.
so it's not like basilisk rules where you just
No,
get
no, no.
paralyzed.
They won't go in your home. The cultists will, and they will make you like stare out the window.
Okay.
But the demons themselves, if you're in a home with like the blinds like shut, like you're cool. And that's how they mostly live their life, in this rich guy's big house.
Also, I forget that guy's name, but from Jurassic Park, he's in this movie. He was my favorite part. Who played the scientist guy in Jurassic Park? He's in this movie. He died really quickly.
Oh, the gay guy.
The gay character.
Okay, yeah. The gay character. Which, like, his scene was weird, because he was like, he did the experiment of, like, if we see them in
From
video.
a digital thing.
Then it won't work.
We'll be fine. Turns out no.
But, like, they tie him to a chair, and he's watching the security cameras outside, and then they leave the room. Mm-hmm. Which is weird, because he's out of like, someone could be on the other end and be watching. Like, if he starts acting weird, then they just, flip the monitor or turn off the thing and, like, try to contain the situation. But no, they all go downstairs, and they're like, well, he's probably fine. They just hear, blah, 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 and he's just banging his head against. It's like, okay, Jesus. So that didn't work, clearly. So yeah, weird scene, weirder movie.
I would say The Happening is not as aggravating as this movie.
This movie is boring.
Yeah.
And
really, we're just being mad because we're so salty about how much people are watching this fucking movie.
Yes.
It's The Babysitter
it's
energy.
everywhere.
Most The Babysitter movie of the year. Anyways.
Ryan loved that.
I don't know what else to say.
People really liked the car sensor scene, from what I've seen on the internet.
Oh,
they're
because
in a car. They black out the windows.
Because it's a new car, so like it has cameras and like sensors.
Oh.
So
and like there's probably
they gotta drive to the grocery store.
So they're driving to the grocery with all the black, and they're just driving with like the GPS and the car sensor. Like, oh, if there's a body, then the sensor will tell us. Which like is very weird. Like that would even work, because like the apocalypse just happened. I would assume everyone stopped their cars and ran.
Yeah, it was like an open.
Like if you see in any like zombie movie, there's just cars everywhere.
Yeah, it's just
It's weird how everyone parked their cars in their home in this
I
apocalypse.
mean, they're not
on the way
wild
to the
animals,
grocery
right?
store.
Yeah. Especially, it's so weird.
Anyways,
and
yeah.
then like they stop and all the sensors are like, I was like, "Oh, I gotta get out of the car." I was like, no, why would you do that?
It's really bad. It's really bad.
What the hell?
it's such
There's a lot
weird-
of stuff going on out there. I gotta get out there.
It's just too much to be in this perfectly safe car where they can't affect us.
That's really funny.
And the happy end, my biggest thing also, the happy ending is just so cheap. Mostly because the Sandra Bullock character is more interesting. Like, it's just like, you should be happy to be a mom. Being a mom is good. And for me, for some reason, that's the thing that I got hung up on. I was like, fucking lame-ass movie. Go fuck yourself.
That's a very, like, 90s.
Yeah.
Like, being a mom is the best job in the world.
Exactly.
And literally everyone wants to and is great at it.
Yeah.
So you need to be a mom
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now.
So,
It's
like, anyways, I don't want to say anything else about the Bird Box. Let's talk about a fucking good-ass movie.
Oh, yeah.
Aquaman.
Yeah! Best movie of 2007.
Down in Africa. Oh man, Aquaman. So we all saw Aquaman for some
We
reason.
all saw it for free on the same
pretty
night.
much.
I got a gift card from work.
I got a gift card from my brother-in-law 2 years ago.
It was my birthday.
Birthday!
And so
And
yeah.
what a birthday! You got to see
Happy
Aquaman.
birthday to you!
So the DC universe doesn't produce the most highest quality of films.
That's something you could say.
Wonder Woman was all right. It was good. It was a good time.
Until now.
So Aquaman, it is such a bizarre trip of a movie in terms of like visuals, just the story structure, and like the fact that it feels like an old, out of time movie, but it feels like they're kind of in on the joke and kind of not in on the joke. It's just a fucking bizarre, entertaining movie.
Yeah.
It's got
just-
William Dafoe as a fishman. And he's got special effects on him to make him look young and athletic and tough. He's the sort of like, I'm the wise like fighter guy.
Yeah, but
William
you're also
Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. So like, the main plot of this movie is just like
Takes
a
place
gla-
after Justice League.
after Justice League, a movie we can all pretend didn't
Remember
exist.
what's his fucking name?
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. Love it.
Atlantis is having some problems like underwater pollution. We need a new ruler. And Aquaman's like, I don't want to be the ruler. It's like, but you're the rightful king of Atlantis. Get the trident. All
Your
right.
mother is Nicole Kidman.
What?
Nicole Kidman is in Aquaman, and she is the queen of Atlantis.
Patrick Wilson is the main villain.
Patrick
of
Wilson is the brother of Jason Momoa and the son of Nicole Kidman.
This family tree is powerful.
Oh, but if I could just go to that family reunion.
Nicole.
Just imagine the Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness.
And so Aquaman
Get
has.
the trident and kill your
Get the
brother
trident and kill your
and be
brother.
the king of Atlantis.
It's really the most basic plot for an Aquaman movie.
Yeah, except somehow
way it-
it's the most complex
the
thing
way
in the world.
it gets there is just.
You need to speak to King Orf of the Crab Kingdom and defeat the crabs. And there's also the Legion
It's got
of
like a-
Super Fishmen.
It's got like a video game plot. Like, you
Yes.
have to go here to get this X thing.
Yes.
And once we're here, we gotta go get the.
Then
other-
we get
We
the key to this theme, which gives us this map to this
We
thing.
have this tube, and you gotta go to the desert.
This is Uncharted 5. This is just Uncharted
And then
5.
it turns into National Treasure for 2 minutes because he has a map, and then he has to solve a riddle, and then he has to go to a tomb. And
It becomes
then he sees
freaking
a
Indiana Jones for a bit.
And this
force
would-
projection.
And again, this would be a very boring DC movie if it wasn't like the
This is the weirdest movie ever made.
It's so
This is the weirdest thing. There's crab people. Willem Dafoe. I've
so-
said it all already.
It's so colorful and like out there. It's like fucking some weird fucking I don't even know.
It feels like an art piece with like weird
Yes.
like colors and like composition and just the way the camera moves and it's a different like time already.
They were like, all right, Aquaman's pretty ridiculous. Let's make this movie ridiculous as hell.
And Jason Momoa is just being charming ass, smarmy ass, like I'm the hero, Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's very much the burnout fucking guy who's like really attractive, but he doesn't have much prospects. But he's really charming and very attractive. We should hang out with him.
Yeah.
He's pretty
Have
cool.
I mentioned he's very attractive?
He's all like, hey, you know, guys. I was like,
I guess let's all just get a beer together.
Permission to come aboard.
You got it, Jason Momoa. You gotta save Atlantis, but I don't wanna. You know what I'm saying?
It's like,
No-
what are those?
Stop.
Okay, if he made a Vine reference, you would have loved it.
He was the fucking reference machine. He was like, fucking Mr. Miyagi over here.
Oh my god, I love when
Kai.
he would make references and,
And
all
all
the
the Atlanteans are like, excuse me? It worked for Pinocchio.
And Patrick
What?
Wilson is acting his fucking mind out in this movie.
He
is-
doesn't have sideburns.
Yes, he's got his full face out, and he's using all of it.
Man, he is like channeling like some Eddie Redmayne and fucking Jupiter
man.
Ascending and shit.
Oh my god.
Man, normally I would just murder you for saying that, but it works so well in this
being
film.
ridiculous.
And then the movie like pivots like, oh, we're the Mummy now. We're literally just uncharted. We're in fucking Africa. This is Aquaman, and we're in fucking Africa. Going to go fucking put the little thingy in the thing to get the trident.
It is nice how like it's not all that. Like it
I
is
mean,
cool
it
seeing
is
like
true,
a character
but
like
it's
in
just
in like
weird.
What's the opposite you would see Aquaman in?
We're in
Oh,
Sicily.
the desert.
We're in Sicily.
You know, we're in the
Where else are you gonna go to have a scene where Amber Heard wine bends, George? That was
and
amazing.
eat a flower.
But again, and the thing that makes it interesting, because otherwise this is just like sort of the problem that I have with Jurassic World, which is just like these very typical and boring archetypes for like a female lead and a male lead in a like the big blockbuster movie. Because if it wasn't for how weird it looks, how strange the actors chosen for their given roles,
Yeah.
it just feels like a thing that shouldn't have been made, but it's working and it's entertaining and it's like, what? Ah, man. Did I mention the
Entertain is putting it very
perfect.
lightly.
Well,
entertain in a very ironic way.
It's
excuse
like
me? No.
it's
like
like
actually, you know, you're right. There are actually legit
weird
parts
'cause,
that I
like,
actually just like.
it goes from like them talking about nothing for
They
a
look like
while
Power Rangers.
to like the craziest like things you could possibly imagine. Like I remember when I was seeing this with Carrie in a very empty IMAX theater.
Every time we go to a movie that's empty in the theater just too late, we're like, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah, exactly. like what really like the first like Nicole Kidman's fight scene, which is like this one
Oh
shot,
my
like crazy. It's like,
fucking Lord.
oh Lord, that's great. Like that's great. But what really like, killed me is like when he's driving home with his dad and he's like looking over, and he's like, I love my dad, I love my life, I'm Jason Momoa, and then like the tsunami just hits and it's just this crazy. He's like, dude, and like it's all
Remember
underwater.
Ponyo?
And then like she comes like underwater and just like moves the water around and it's like, Pop, what's going on? And it's like, this movie's amazing. This is the greatest movie ever made. Whoa.
Yeah.
This movie's amazing.
Aquaman is. I don't know, man. It's
An
really-
octopus plays the drums.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
What can we say, guys?
They could have
Really.
gone the complete super DC, play it straight faced, and this is not silly at all. What the fuck are you talking about? This is fucking Aquaman. This is real.
He goes to the center of the earth and there's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And there's a kaiju voiced by Julie fucking
Who
Andrews.
is not in Mary Poppins,
Yeah,
but is in Aquaman.
she was like, Mary Poppins, that's yesterday.
I have a real movie to record right now, okay? It's called Aquaman. I play Kaiju number 1.
I still can't believe like the next big Nicole Kidman movie could be the furthest thing away from what she's doing in Aquaman, and that's that one Annapurna Pictures movie. I don't know if you saw
Oh,
it.
the Destroyer
Yeah,
one?
the Destroyer one. It was just like, man, it's just weird to see like we're talking about Destroyer and then she's an Aquaman. Like,
What's the
I don't know what else to say. I thought that last fight scene was pretty cool.
It was awesome.
Every fight scene was pretty cool.
But it was also like again, there are genuinely Aquaman's a bad movie in plain text. But,
yeah,
because
but like if you zoom in,
we
you
gotta
get the,
end
you
the
see
war.
the word
They are
masterpiece.
making out, and she's feeling her ass while it just explodes like, oh my god, I'm a sea turtle, I'm burning.
It's pretty awesome.
You're right, George. That was a great scene.
Yeah. Remember
And
the
then
part?
he gets the
Remember,
actual Aquaman costume, and
remember the part where like she's like, "You smell really weird" while they're underwater, and he smells himself underwater. He's like, "Ugh!" Like, how fucking bad do you smell if you're in water and you can smell yourself? Like, ugh!
And now-
What does Jason Momoa do?
That's what you're caught up on. That's the thing.
That's a weird scene. That's
I
a
was
very
like,
weird-
yeah, Jason Momoa is so charming.
Yay!
He is very charming. Yes.
Yay, I'm watching a movie.
Oh,
This
man.
movie's
It feels like
great.
a thing at a time. It feels like something from the early 90s.
Like
or
people are gonna
something.
be like 2018. The best cast of 2018 has to be Infinity War there, Chris Evans
I mean, it's-
there. But like this is the best casting of the year.
I like
Yeah.
Aquaman a lot. It's also long as all shit.
Oh, it's some would say it's too long.
They
but
were
those
like,
people are idiots.
They were like, "This is our only first chance to make an Aquaman movie. We got to do everything."
that is like really cool. Like they really like no like action beat like feels like the same as another one. Like they all feel unique and like a new idea. So it really does feel like we're doing everything just in case this is the only time we're ever able
Yeah.
to do it. And you know what? I give you props for that. That's
James
that's
Wan like
awesome.
committed to the bit.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm going down in a blaze of
And
glory
the
if I'm
fight,
going
the
down.
fight scenes and the action scenes like had character, like they were
looked
interesting.
Yeah.
good.
And they weren't just boring.
That Nicole
boring,
Kidman scene was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was a lot of CGI creatures fighting each other, but I actually cared about
But
it.
it
this
looked,
time
Yeah.
but it was
because
so colorful.
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
it was dynamic and fun, and yeah.
And, like,
I
it can
could
be,
see, I could see what was happening in the
Yes.
film.
Yeah, because it was colorful. It wasn't just gray smoke and ash. Ugh.
It's a thing, man. Anyways,
Because I
Aquaman,
think this
movie
was
of
the
the year.
greatest movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so glad
never-
I'm so glad I saw Aquaman.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
me too.
I like how we
never-
all went to the day like, oh, we're gonna see. Oh,
Fuck,
man.
yeah, exactly. I was sitting there like, I'm not using my own fucking money for this garbage.
And then it was like, whoa! He just jumped out of a plane. Man.
Redheads, am I right?
That's, I was confused by that. Does their fish powers allow them to jump out of planes? I don't understand.
Fucking cares, Carrie?
You know what? You're right.
I'm so glad I
sorry.
didn't listen to that Pitbull song before watching that movie too. Because when
So
it hit, I was like, man.
I heard Pitbull rapping and I was like, wow, why is Pitbull? And then it turned into Africa and I was like, oh my god.
Oh,
There's two
man.
other scenes I want to talk about. First off, it's really cool how like the normal Atlanteans, they can't breathe air. So like they have like
Yeah.
these water helmets,
Yeah, they
which
have
like
the
is
water
cool. And then they had like a weird, stupid, but like also like awesome bit where like she takes out the fucking receiver thing, like the guy like is like drowning in like air's like, oh, and then he reaches for the toilet and then
He's just
puts
there.
his head in the toilet. Like,
there
oh, thank
forever."
God, I'm here forever. And also Black Manta, the second villain, who we haven't mentioned just because he's kind of
He's kind of there.
He's kind of the cheesiest villain because
Yeah.
his dad's like, you pirates like McGrady.
There's a very boring movie that's not led by Patrick Wilson as the bad guy,
Oh,
where
yeah.
he's the bad
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's
gonna be the second one.
next one. Yeah.
Probably.
Where James Wan is like, hey, listen, guys, I did it. So I'm gonna go
So
back
someone
to
else can do it.
Goodbye. Gotta
go make another
more
contract.
anime.
But like,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
really like his the ending of like his final fight with Aquaman, where like he just yeets him off a cliff, and he just like boop boop, and it's 1,000 rocks, and just lands in the middle of the ocean. Oh my god, it's great.
It's sort of, yeah. I feel like this is also a movie that a little kid would fucking dig as.
Oh
like,
my god,
crazy.
if I watched this movie at 12, oh my god.
It's really good.
This would have changed my entire perception of reality.
And also, like the stuff with the fish stuff is cool as hell.
it is cool.
It's really cool.
Guys.
If you would have told me this time, like last year, that like Carrie, Aquaman's coming out this year, and you're gonna love it, I'd be like, okay, sure.
I guess I should just kill myself now because I don't want to live myself in that reality.
Oh,
man.
Just everyone
can't
involved with
believe
Aquaman, just thank you.
it's so good.
I want to personally thank you.
And I'm so glad also, like, this wouldn't have happened if, like, the DC stuff was doing so well. They're at the point now where, like, just do whatever, man. We don't know what the
gotta
fuck.
get-
I
We don't
really
know.
like-
We
I
don't know.
really
We
like-
don't know. Just do you.
Yeah.
I like how Justice League was like such like, okay, let's just do whatever now. So James Wan, actually, you can go all out with that. We don't care.
Yeah, because all the micromanaging went into Justice League. All of it. And
They're
it
like-
turned out to a disaster. And they didn't have, like, there's just
Yeah.
fucking, I don't know, guys. Just do whatever.
And then Aquaman turns out to be the greatest movie of all time.
Oh, man.
It's kind of like with like Spider-Verse, just because like everyone was like so preoccupied. I feel like everyone was so preoccupied with other stuff at Sony. They're like, we need to make Venom like the movie for the fans, and Spider-Verse can be like whatever. And it's like, oh, actually, this movie is perfect because you let people have fun and like do a thing that was fun. So it's like, oh,
man.
Aquaman's great.
God. Anyways.
Tell me about New Year.
So yeah, so this is one of the Hulu Into the Dark films, which are, I guess it's sort of an anthology, but it's not just a series for like that they're doing for every month. So this is the one for New Year's. It's got Suki Waterhouse. I haven't looked up this director if they are of note. Ryan, could you look that up for me right now?
I will do that for you right now.
So what it's about is, so Suki Waterhouse plays this character who, out of her group of like high school friends, one of them became an Instagram influencer. She became
She's like
super
a
huge.
YouTuber, health guru.
Yes, and she's like, oh, like here's like health tips, lifestyle.
Blogger.
Yes, and so her parents, I think it's her parents, like own this house, and they're going to get rid of it. It was like the one they used to hang out a lot when they were kids, and so they like invited her to like come to the one last hurrah. So like they talk to like the character. Like we first think like Suki Waterhouse's character is like just like sort of is like jealous of her friend, but then it turns out that actually she's always been a fake terrible person. And now somehow she's been able to, like she manipulated us to do terrible things and be assholes to a bunch of people during our childhood. She's now doing that on a major scale and profiting off of it. And so we are going. Specifically, when they were in high school, they bullied a girl to suicide, and so they were confronting her, and they wanted to live stream like a confession, and then shit goes wild. So yeah, just for that present, I think the movie is good. I think when we were doing our like looking back on the year, and we saw like what horror movies came out, like. Obviously, there was like Hereditary, which sort of like dominated the conversation, and I think that's also because like there wasn't a lot of great horror movies this year, and because of that, I think New Year, New You doesn't do anything fantastic, but it's a solid movie, and the build to the twist is done pretty well. It gets really surreal for the first thing, like it's like really. Because, like, yes, like, this happened, but you guys are taking it very... Obviously, I guess Suki Waterhouse's character, like, she's actually like, you fucked my shit up. But then the ending is like, oh, wait, maybe she had... I don't know if did you see this, Carrie? Oh, okay, cool. So you already saw it. So, yeah, so the ending is like, actually, maybe she was, like, playing this the whole damn time.
Yeah.
Or at least now that she's, like... She turned her into, like, a person who is, like... She's clearly jealous of her because, like, you are a terrible person, you don't deserve it. I'm taking the shot. I guess I'm kind of spoiling the movie, but yeah, I thought it was good. Good to fine. I think
It's good at juggling. It doesn't let you get too comfortable with like, oh, this is who I'm supposed to be rooting for. So it subverts what you're expecting the movie to do.
The movie would be a
fairly
lot
well
less
a lot of
interesting if it played it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's weird. It's like from the title card and from the intro, you think this movie's gonna be a lot more stylized and maybe a lot more slow, but then it just takes like a very, I would say a very modern horror pace without being too obnoxious. Like it's not too far. It's not. There's not directorial like a vision here. I think it's very like, it's like the AAA like blockbuster Ouija Blumhouse style, but just done a little bit better. Enough that makes it like it's good. It's okay. It's not like a regular Ouija or a Truth or Dare, some would say, which is a fine movie in my opinion. But yeah, I think if you want to watch an alright horror movie, New Year, New You, it's alright.
So to answer your question, this director hasn't really done a whole lot. She had one other movie in 2016 called Always Shine.
Oh, then I would say for like a first big outing, it's very well done.
Although she was in
actress.
VHS 1, she was in Second Honeymoon, which I believe was
she was an
your
actress.
favorite one of VHS 1, right?
Oh, I think so.
This is the
that
honeymoon
the-
one. That's the
the
like
one
the
where-
found footage. Not
Where
well, they're all found
the
footage.
girl and the guy are on
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah.
And then
I can't remember a lot about
The-
VHS one.
the
I've
it
watched
keeps
VHS
like
2 too many
getting
times.
they like go on their sightseeing, and then at night this other camera comes in and films them and like
Yes.
steals his money, and then he's like, "You stole my money." She's like, "No, I didn't." And then it ends up that it's her girlfriend who comes back and murders the boyfriend.
So she
and they
plays
run away.
Stephanie. So
yes.
one of those two women.
So I would say then, yeah, I would say as like a directorial, I think it's very well done. Then I'd say, yeah.
I need to watch more of Hulu's Into the Dark series just because it's very cool to have like this series for just like up and coming horror or just like directors do like a short, kind of cheap, fun thing.
Yeah, and I think same.
On like a kind of like, because Puka, I've only seen Puka so far, and that really much feels like a TV show budget, but like that's something you can do like horror can do a
horror
lot
is made cheaply. Yes,
and like the cheapness kind of like brings out more creativity. Because like you have to like, okay, how do we make this look scary given the fact that we have $7?
I wonder what Us's budget is actually. I don't know. I'm thinking
Us
about
probably has a pretty decent
probably
budget.
decent budget, but not too much. It's still Blumhouse, so yeah, it's pretty good. It's I would say better than the average like theater Blumhouse film. Yeah. Wow, we did it.
January
We did it.
does not have a whole lot, which is
Nope.
good because we watched a lot of stuff this year, and we will be catching up in January. But let's start off strong with Escape Room. From the director of The Taking of Deborah Logan and Insidious The Last Key comes Escape
Creepy
Room.
old lady movies.
Yeah, this seems like a movie that would have been popular never, because it's a stupid idea and I don't know why.
It's also like the second movie in this like decade. It's called
Yeah.
Escape Room.
Have either of you been to an escape room?
No.
Would you guys want to go to
No.
an escape?
Nah, that sounds not good.
Yeah, it
That
don't-
is not my thing. I want to competitively solve a puzzle with my friend. That's we're gonna just argue and hit each other.
I'd
We're
rather,
like,
play,
we gotta find the secret message in the. Shut up!
I'd rather play. Can we play Mario Party instead?
that sounds
Yeah,
a lot
let's just
better.
stay home.
Exactly. So it's just an escape room, but apparently in this
Spooky.
one you could actually die.
If you die in the escape room, you die for real.
So you're telling me this is a horror movie that came out the first week of January?
Yeah, it's out.
That's
Let's
great
go.
quality.
Let's go.
That's when I would release a good movie.
The only actress in this that I know is one of the girls is Karen Page in Daredevil, a show that has now been canceled, and I am
Womp womp.
upset because the last season was really good.
Wah, wah.
Very sad. She did very good in that show.
What is the upside?
This is
no.
the film where Kevin Hart plays like an assistant nurse to a wheelchair-bound Bryan Cranston, whose wife
Completely
is Nicole
paralyzed.
Kidman.
Oh, Jesus.
And
You know what? Whatever. Get paid.
It's a lighthearted comedy where they get to know each other.
yeah, it's like that other wheelchair movie that came out, the one with Sam Claflin and Emilia Clarke, Me Before You. It's like that, but it's a bro movie instead
This
of a
sounds
rom-com.
very familiar, but I can't picture it in my mind.
Then you're thinking of any movie Kevin Hart has ever done in his entire career, because it's
No,
the same
but-
kind of film.
But yeah, it just it.
Kevin Hart. What? Come on, guys.
What happened to him?
What happened? His biggest crime really is not being very funny.
Yeah.
I feel, because like he's
I'm
such a
trying
like
to defend him, and I can't
he's
think
such
of
a
anything.
he
to
has such
defend.
a lowest common denominator comedy where like everyone's like, I feel that way too. I hate airline food, like that kind of stuff, and like I hate it because he has such an ego about it. Like I'm the funniest person on the planet.
I mean, to be fair, all comedians do, but it doesn't help how big he is. I don't know.
Yeah, some should
They're
say he
making-
should still
they're making-
host. Some should say he should still host the Oscars. I say.
Why are
he
they
should
making
not
another
make
Norma
any
the
more.
North?
What? Why would you? What?
Because they have to start making good movies, George.
Yeah.
We got to start off 2019 right.
Norma the North, Keys to the Kingdom. Rob Schneider is unfortunately not back
What?
in this one. No,
What?
I looked it up.
Get it off the list. Who is it then?
Some
Todd Reimer.
just some guy probably. I don't know.
It's an actual polar bear. They put him in the vocal booth. They're just gonna subtitle the whole film, and it's gonna win Best Foreign Film at the Oscars.
God, I hate it. We're gonna see this.
You
I don't
guys
think
are.
this is gonna be in a theater.
Yeah, probably not.
No, it won't.
We'll watch it.
Glass.
Oh boy.
Skip. Let's not talk about.
So yeah,
whatever.
this is M Night. Man, I'm so disappointed. This is what M Night Shyamalan did with the Visit Heat. The heat he got from The Visit. Man, that was a good movie. That was a very good movie.
It was fun, and then Split came out, and it was awful in ways that I personally hate. And then this is just like more of that.
It's got Sarah Paulson in it?
It does, and I'm pissed because she's great.
It feels like it's just turning into a crazy, weird X-Men movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It might be interesting, but I don't think I care.
Especially because I'm not in the demographic, because like I didn't watch Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Neither have I.
I'm
haven't
not
seen
Greg.
it either.
Because I remember I watched. Did Greg watch it with us, or I don't know what's the
With
group?
the split?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like...
Because it was
"What?"
you. It was him and I. We were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, Greg gets mad at me for not liking Split, but I'm just like, it's dumb and
Bad.
bad, and I hated it.
Because I just feel like Glass is more of a sequel to Unbreakable.
Yes.
With
Yeah.
just like the split character of James McAvoy. And for some reason, Anna Taylor-Joy, even though I
Yeah.
don't get why.
Why would she be back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Maybe
I mean, Anna
she
Taylor-Joy
has
is great,
depression
though.
superpowers or something.
God, where are my powers
Yeah,
then?
what the hell?
I should be able to fly at this point. Jeez.
Anna Taylor-Joy is great.
She is very great. We'll talk about her more on the next podcast, which will be maybe the best of 2018.
Maybe we'll see. Serenity. Is this the movie of the Firefly sequel? What's this?
This it.
I don't know
This is
what
that Matthew McConaughey Anne Hathaway on a boat movie that we got a trailer for like once. It looks dramatic and sexy and weird.
I think it's just because Anne Hathaway is on the come up recently that I was like, yeah. God.
The mysterious past of a fishing boat captain comes back to haunt him when his ex-wife tracks him down with a desperate plea for help, ensnaring his life in a new reality that may not be all that it
Holmes
seems.
is the actor who's the other guy.
It's Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke. Jason Clarke just
guy.
finds himself in the weirdest roles. Pet Cemetery. That's gonna be big for him.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Dawn of
It's a
the Planet of the
weird
Apes.
one.
But he's in a lot of other
He
weird
was
He's a
in
things.
good
that.
actor.
He was in that Winchester movie.
Oh.
Oh my god, that movie was fucking wild. I don't think I ever got to talk about that on the podcast.
No, it's on the list.
They shot a ghost, and it worked.
Oh man. Someone call Zach Baggins right now. He's
just-
gonna be pissed.
Because quick tangent. I'll go through it quickly. Because Jason Clarke's character is at the Winchester house to evaluate Lady Winchester, and his wife killed herself, and he kept the bullet that she shot herself with, and he keeps it with him. And then at the end, when they're trying to get rid of the ghosts, he has the Winchester rifle bullet, and they're like, "Oh, it's been imbued with spirit power, so now you can shoot a ghost with it, and the ghost will leave." It's like, this movie is weird as fuck.
Who was the lead in that? Was
Helen
it?
Mirren,
Helen
right?
Mirren, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
That movie
I'm just
was so
thinking of
weird.
Anne Hathaway now.
And then that movie pulled Jason Clarke was talking to some guy in the hallway, and then the guy made a ghost face at him, and he walked into the room where Helen Mirren was, and he was like, "I was just talking to one of your employees," and he was like getting really weird about it, and he was saying some stuff, and then she was like, "Was it this man?" and held up a newspaper, and he was like, "Yeah, that's the guy." She's like, "He's been dead for 20 years." I was like, this is okay.
Oh man.
That was an early this year. Or
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Joint.
I just realized just now that I never got a chance to talk about that on the podcast.
So the last movie for January is The Kid Who Would Be King, directed by
yeah.
Joe. It's Joe Cornish, who also directed Attack the Block, a very fun movie.
Oh.
And this looks, I don't know, I'm kind of split on it.
It's hard to tell.
looks
It's
fun.
hard to tell.
I think it looks
It's
fun.
coming out in January. It's like
Yeah.
they're
Then again-
pulling the.
But then again, it's a very like British movie, and I
Rebecca
feel like
Ferguson plays Morgana. Oh my god.
a lot of British stuff comes to us in January, which I was like, oh, will be good, but then it turns out it is. I don't know.
So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably see it. Like,
I'm not watching it in theaters. You can tell me if it's good.
okay, because I don't know. I really like Attack the Block. John Boyega.
Yeah, that's
very
his
good in
thing. That was
Yeah.
a big role for him.
That's what got him into Star Wars.
That's what got him in Star Wars. Yeah.
Star Wars.
But yeah, it's basically about a kid. He finds out he's King Arthur man, King Excalibur boy.
We get
But it's
another
the
King
mo-
Arthur movie.
Oh man, but this one, I mean, it won't really match King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. Best movie of the
Nothing
year.
ever will, Ryan.
Aquaman is
I'm
getting really
gonna-
close.
You know what? Aquaman is this year's King Arthur Legend of the Sword.
I'm glad we finally.
I refuse to believe this.
Zach also loved Aquaman.
Hey!
So it is the same movie.
It's a lot better, but it hits
Yeah.
the same. It hits the same parts of my heart and brain.
Yes, exactly.
It fires the same centers.
And that's everything.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the movies of 2018.
Yeah.
Thank God.
What a year.
Man.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Actually, not really. There was a
It
few.
was I think we started 2018 very pessimistic. I feel a lot better.
and then we saw
thanks to
Annihilation,
Aquaman.
and then we're like, nothing will ever beat
I-
that.
Thanks to Aquaman.
I'm riding this Aquaman wave, and I feel positive about the future.
Riding that wave.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Whoa!
Man, part of me wants to see Serenity just so I can look at Anne Hathaway. She looks really
Same.
good with that
That's
blonde
where I'm
hair.
at.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, next episode may be the best of it, may be the January. Who knows? Schedules are a thing. But January, from what we just ran down, looks like some slim pickings. There might be some like stuff that will probably get like Oscar noms that are just coming out and we
Yeah.
don't know about because we're not plugged in.
Nope. We're
So
not on the festival circuit. Or
we're not in the
anything.
festival
No.
circuit, no.
Yet.
Yeah.
We're on our way. Damn it.
Aquaman. Turns out we already saw it. It's festival season's here, folks. So yeah, I guess until that time, Ryan, where can people find you on Twitter? Actually, you're locked.
I am locked on Twitter.
So
Well,
find him on Letterboxd.
Letterboxd at Film Piece. That's me on Letterboxd.
Carrie, where can people find you?
You can find me at car_E_Lyles, Lyles, or on Letterboxd. I think you can just search. Carrie
I think
and
you're
find
just
me.
Carrie.
You can't be the only
Carrie.
Carrie on here.
Oh, let's look right now.
Maybe it's biased
Carrie.
towards you,
If
though.
you can go to members.
'Cause I-
Oh, look, number 2.
She's the
There's
second-
Carrie. I'm number 2.
'Cause I
You
remember
spell it
I was-
Karrie.
Because I remember I was gonna do a review. I was like, I saw this with this idiot at, and then I was like, if I did at Carrie, that wouldn't be right. And it was like, but she was just Carrie. I was like, dang it! I gave another review
It's me.
because you locked that name in.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was the
Lucky.
first Carrie spelled this particular weird dumb way on Letterboxd.
Well, there you go. You
Thank
can find
you.
me at jcruzalvarez26. If you like the show, you can rate and review us on iTunes. That'd be very, very helpful. So yeah, until next time, I'm glad I feel much more positive about 2019. Well, actually,
Aquaman will do that to you.
Aquaman was very good.
Who would have thought that Aquaman would be the movie that would like revitalize our spirits and bring us together at
Oh,
the end of
man.
the year?
Oh boy, that's a movie.
Man.
So until next time, we will see you then.